How and welcome to Canterbury Live on Monday the 7th of September. To all the dads out there, I hope you had a wonderful day yesterday. You were spoilt or you just took some time out for yourself, guilt-free, like that, don't we? Now on Friday, a dad, yes, a father and an amazing magician, it was magician music I suppose, Graham Brazier passed away in Auckland. There he is. And the bookshop which he actually lived above, that's right, on Dominion Road, funny enough. 1952 he was born, he died on Friday, aged 63 years. Of course, frontman for Hello Sailor, there he goes there, that mighty fine eyeliner. Rumour has it, well not rumour, it was from his mouth, that he was asked to join the Doors, but it never was confirmed by the Doors, but pretty cool anyway. He had a heart attack a few months ago, which was actually going to delay the whole tour with Hello Sailor. He also spent some time in rehab. Nevertheless, very sad because his music is legendary. How many New Years can you hear this song or, you know, Blue Lady? But anyway, on today's show, some giveaways. First up, we've got Horncastle, Graham Horncastle's book bundle, Horncastle's suitcase, and Hero or Hellraiser. Great chap, owner of the Pavilions Hotel and Jimmy's Bar. Very cool if you're looking for a little cheeky snack or a drink. And Hoyt Cinemas, we have some wonderful movie tickets as well. And Ira Mitchell-Kirk was in last week, and we have this beautiful, beautiful painting of hers. To win any of these, all you need to do is simply go through to our website, ctv.co.nz, to the competition page. Really, really simple. Coming up on today's show, Karen Deegan closes the show today, and today we're talking about depression. Where does it come from? How do we overcome it? Some really good advice. Canterbury Charity Hospital, wonderful resource right here in Canterbury, and they need your help. This Friday there will be a charity night at the races. We'll find out all about that from Rosie. Brent Latimer, do you have a limit on your credit card? Well, I hope you do. Do you stick to it? Today we're talking about limit being the limit, so not changing it. Christchurch Police, I'm joined by one of the inspectors to talk about youth and how things are progressing with our youth and how we can assist them, as in the police and our youth. TEDx, have you heard about it? Pretty cool medium, isn't it? Well, they're coming to Christchurch in October, and we have an exclusive announcement today. Very exciting indeed. And last week I headed out to the fire service, to the comm centre. Very busy indeed, so it'll be great to be on site with them. And one lady who would not like to see the fire service in her kitchen would be Nicola Freya. Would you?
No, I don't want my kitchen to burn down.
I bet you've got your fire extinguisher there.
I do, absolutely, right through the house.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately at late there has been a lot of talk of fire service and the smoke alarms, but yeah.
It was so careful.
It's really so careful.
Yeah.
And Smokey, that's your kebabs today.
Nice segue. Yeah.
Smoky prawn kebabs.
Smoky prawn kebabs.
We'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Let's give us a roundup. The year's going really quick, Nicola.
Yeah.
And now we're coming into summer.
Yeah. So I think it's the time when people like to do something a bit social around food. We're getting close to that time. And next month we're going to be 3 months down from Christmas. So we're starting to do some things that are a bit more social, some sort of workshops or masterclasses, we're calling them. Yeah, so the first one we're doing is a masterclass around demystifying food labels, because you know if you're in the supermarket, you're trying to compare products and you're trying to work out which is the best one. It's so confusing sometimes. So we're just going to look at what legally do you have to have on a food label, what sort of claims can people make and what do those claims actually mean. And then how do you compare two products? If you've got a couple of muesli bars and they're different sizes, how do you compare your apples with your apples and make sure you know which is the best one to buy for your family.
Some really useful tips then when we're out there shopping.
Yeah, and just to look at, there's all sorts of claims. For instance, if you were buying an olive oil and it said this is a light olive oil, a lot of people might think, oh, that means it's lower in fat, but light olive oil actually means it's light in colour. And there's
really?
So there's lots of tricks like that. That are there, on purpose to confuse people sometimes, I think, but really useful just to be armed.
I totally assumed light would be lighter in fat.
Yeah.
It's the colour. What to do that, eh?
Yes, so people know the buzzwords to use and just the triggers that people will go for, and they use that a lot. So good to be well armed when you go shopping at the supermarket.
Hey, let's talk about your Facebook page, because you're on there constantly. There's even competitions and just great source of information.
Yes, we have competitions. Each week we have a theme on the Facebook page, and on a Sunday we usually put up a link to some sort of article or some sort of report about that nutrition topic. And we put up our links to our YouTube clips of the shows, the interview and the cooking segment today, and also the link to the recipe of the week that will be on our website. So information keeps coming through, and we regularly have competitions and things like that as well, prizes and that sort of thing.
Oh, we like prizes.
Definitely worth keeping an eye out. So it's Nourish Nutrition Limited, so like us on Facebook, and you can also, if you're interested in any of the masterclasses that we were just talking about then, you can message us on Facebook also and tell us if you'd like to come along. We'll be giving more information, but it'll be towards the end of October that they'll start.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we don't do Facebook, because I know, there's a few of us out there, the website, we can go to the website as well.
And you can just email us directly, nicola.fra@nourish.org.nz.
Too easy. Radio. Now this week, yum-o. I love prawns. I would have, in fact, I'll ask you the question, would you prefer crayfish or prawns? Oh, really?
Oh, they're both great, but I do love crayfish.
Do you really?
I do love crayfish.
Give me a bucket of prawns. Tell you what, too messy. But this week is smoky prawn kebabs.
Prawns, yes. And they're actually done by toasting mustard seeds and grinding them down to a powder and mixing that in with some coriander and some olive oil and a little bit of lime juice. And it just has this beautiful smoky flavour. It's amazing. So they matched up with the Crater Rim White Press Sauvignon Blanc. So that fresh seafood and beautiful Sauv Blanc from White Press. So perfect combination. So keep an eye on that recipe. It's coming up shortly,
gorgeous.
isn't it?
And yeah, it is. In fact, in the next part of the show, you'll better see Nicola in the kitchen doing what she does. Thank you so much. And don't forget, we had all those keys up there about where you can contact Nicola and the team. But how cool, masterclass sounds, different thing. Learned that today. Light does not mean light. Light and colour.
No.
Porky pies, I tell you what. Hey, now stay with us, because after the break we head into the kitchen with Nicola. Yummo. Oh, first of all, we've got the website there, nourish.org.nz. Facebook, Nourish Nutrition Limited, health through food. And as I was just saying, Nicola will be in the kitchen, yes she will. And I'm joined by Inspector Glenn Nalder, and we're talking about youth.
It's important for young people to be involved in stopping violence in our community, because they are the next link in the chain, and they're the generation that will carry on morals and values, and if they're upholding an idea of violence being okay, then violence will continue to be a part of our community.
I think it's
very astute young man. Some good words there, isn't it, really?
That's right, there is, yeah.
And it's strong coming from the youth. I'm joined by Inspector Glenn Nalder, who is you govern, the District Manager for Family Violence, Youth and Victims. That's a big portfolio.
It is a bit of a challenge. I'm spread pretty thin, but we're doing some good work in all of those areas. Yeah.
So tell us about youth at the moment, and we just touched on a little bit before we came on to the interview, was the earthquakes. Have they been an impact on youth crimes and offending?
Yeah, to some extent they have, Andrea. I think overall we've got some pretty good news in Christchurch. Youth offending is down about 40% from a couple of years ago. That's a pretty significant drop, and far fewer victims, of course. But what we are seeing in some of our children, our 10, 11, 12-year-olds, is an increase in offending. And we think that's probably attributable to the earthquakes to some extent. These kids were 5, 6 years old when the earthquakes first started. So that's pretty concerning, yeah.
It is. So, I don't know, we haven't got a psychologist sitting on the couch, but why would it be at a 5 and 6-year-old that they would, is it because they feel a chip on the shoulder, that they're owed something, or?
Look, it was a pretty stressful time for the kids, for everyone, as a matter of fact. And many families are still finding things stressful, and that stress is manifested in some poor behaviour. So we're working pretty closely with our health and education partners in particular to try and put things in place so these kids don't graduate to adult offending.
Oh, graduate. We don't like them graduating in that way, do we, at all?
No, we don't.
No. So what are they doing?
Well, one of the I guess topical issues at the moment is our window washers, our intersection roadside window washers. That's the real concern for us at the moment on a couple of levels. First of all, it is illegal. It does breach a city council bylaw.
So it is illegal?
It is illegal.
Okay, right.
Police have prosecuted quite a few people, including some youth, for breaching the bylaw. But the primary concern is a safety issue, really. This is happening on our roads. These kids are darting in and out of traffic. They're putting themselves and other road users at risk. We have had cases of some of our youth being struck by cars. It's only a matter of time before something more serious happens. Pretty concerning.
Always a fatality. How about the petty thefts and things like that? Are they still youth?
Yeah, look, I mean,
groups?
youth offending does cover the whole range of criminal offending generally, albeit at a much, I guess, lower or smaller level. But just touching back on the window washers, I think one of the messages we want to get out there to people in the community is don't pay them, don't engage with them, tell them that you don't want them to wash your windows, because the money that they're getting from this mainly is going to alcohol and drugs, and that generates a whole separate set of issues for police.
I guess also though, Glenn, I can say that especially, I don't know, being a female or on your own with children, you don't want to cause a scene though, do you?
No, you don't, and it can be intimidating at times, and if that is the case, please call police. But if people don't engage with the window washers, they will go away.
Just look straight ahead.
That's right.
Okay, so how can we help in the community? We've got these youth that maybe just slightly off the rail and just need to get back on. How can we as a community help them?
From a police perspective, yeah, one of the biggest things we can do is keep our kids in school. Get them to school and keep them in school. From a parent, caregiver, whānau perspective, that's one of the biggest things. We know that young people that stay in school are far less likely to come to police attention later in life. They have, they increase the likelihood that they'll reach their fullest potential. And that's what this is about for young people, giving them the tools to reach their fullest potential.
And I guess for most families, they're like, oh, that's easy. I packed their lunch. I've washed their clothes on the weekend. They've got the uniform all set out for that. That sounds all fairy tale and lovely, but that's not every household's like that, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, sure, that's a great start, but you're right, not every household is like that. It's an overall community issue. Police certainly can't fix it on our own, and in many cases, parents and caregivers have difficulty as well. So those extended families, community role models, we're really asking those people to step in, step up, be a role model and help our young people make the right decisions. And again, let's keep our kids in school.
Well, that's it. It seems quite simple, but again, we've got to work though with the community, as in work with the teachers and that. And if we do see someone that potentially needs a bit of love, a hug, then I guess we can come to the police and say, hey, I've got concerns. And it's not narking, is it?
No, it's not. Look, it's really uncool to commit crime. You're going to limit your career opportunities, your ability to travel overseas, your earning potential. So no, it's not narking. It's simply helping this young person reach their fullest potential, giving them the support they might need to stay on the right track.
And also, I think it's circle of friends too. I think something was said to me quite a while ago, and I've sort of rung quite true. You certainly can't pick the friends your children have, but you can manipulate the situation.
You can, and I guess that is one of the real skills of being a parent, isn't it? It's I guess keeping an interest in what your children are doing is important. Knowing what they're doing, knowing who they're doing it with. So as adults, we can often see things coming down the track that our young folks can't. So it's providing that advice at the right time.
Well, you heard it there. We've learned a couple of great things today. One is that those window washers, it is actually illegal. So you don't have to put up with them at all. And be strong and call through to the police and for help. And challenge to you, if you see a young person that maybe need a little bit of love, a little bit of care, again, speak up. Thank you so much, and thank you to your team for doing such a wonderful job. The youth are our future. We just need to cherish them even more these days. Good on you. Now, we're back into the kitchen. Yes, with Nicola, it is smoky prawn kebabs. Yummo.
Today I'm here with Hayden Good, winemaker from the Crater and Winery,
and today we're going to be matching some smoky prawns with the Crater Rim Banks Peninsula Pinot Gris. So Hayden, tell us a little bit about the Crater Rim.
Yeah, Nicola, the Crater Rim is a small family-owned winery and vineyard north of Christchurch in the Waipara Valley. We produce Pinot Noir, Riesling, Sauvignon Blanc and of course Pinot Gris.
Great, so today we're going to be matching these smoky prawns, which are a mixture of some toasted mustard seeds which have been ground, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of lime, and we're going to be putting the prawns in there to marinate them a bit. So, knowing what you do about the flavours of this wine, tell us a little bit about the wine itself and how it might go with these flavours.
So this wine has quite a soft palate, and we'll find that the lemon in this dish I think will really help balance out and bring out some of the more subtle flavours in the wine.
Excellent. So I'm just going to add a little bit more oil to this dish. And I can smell that smoky flavour of that mustard seed coming through already. So is this quite a dry style of wine?
This is what we consider to be an off-dry style. I'd say it's got about 5 grams residual sugar, and which is a great match with a dish like this, as opposed to our Waipara Pinot Gris, which is a little bit sweeter with about 20 grams.
Great, so we're both wearing our gloves today because we're going to thread these onto the kebabs and get them all ready for the grill. Then we're just going to pop them in the sandwich grill and toast them that way. But I can smell the flavour of this, a combination of the lime and also those smoky mustard seeds really coming through. So does this wine go quite nicely with seafood, do you think?
Yes, it's a great match with seafood. I think especially because this dish has that lime and the smoke, it will work well with this Pinot Gris.
Yeah. Excellent. So we've just got a few of these kebabs here, and we're just going to start popping them onto the grill. And I can hear them sizzling as we pop them on. So we're just going to let them cook away, and we'll come back in a few minutes and match those with the wine. So I can hear the prawns sizzling away there. They sound like they're calling us to open them up.
Yes.
Oh, they look
Delicious.
Great. Okay, so we're just going to serve these prawns up and pop them on the plate with a bit of lemon. That matches quite nicely. While I'm doing that, would you like to pour us some of the wine and tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so this is our Pinot Gris from Banks Peninsula. We find in this wine aromas of poached pear, and it has a really nice balanced texture with quite a creamy sort of palate, and we find it's really nicely finished with some phenolics.
Right. Okay, so just while I'm finishing dishing these up here, do you want to try the smoky prawns and just knowing what you know about this wine, tell us how you think they would match together? I'll just add these on here just while you're nibbling away on that. And just serve these up with a slice of lemon or lime just on the side. Adds a good bit of colour and it just sort of adds to that lovely zingy flavour that's coming through in those as well. So what did you think of it, the flavour of that?
I think the smoky flavour really comes through strong, and it would go great with the pear aromas we have in the wine.
Right.
Also the tangy lemon really helps to balance out that soft palate from
Yeah. So, it sounds like the combination of those flavours really go beautifully together. So if you're having a lovely spring lunch, or even if you're serving up a nice dinner for friends, why don't you try something like that? We hope you enjoy trying that match yourself.
Doesn't it look good? Throw an old shrimp on the barbie. Yummo. And with a beautiful match with Crater Rim. Now stay with us because after the break, Brent Latimer is here with some amazing advice, financial and hospital, Canterbury Charity Hospital. See you soon. Rightio. I don't know who this young chap is that's walked into the studio. Brent Latimer, apparently. Unbelievable.
How are you?
Crikey, you're looking good.
I had a bit of a tidy up.
Did you have a tidy up? We didn't look
With
that
a
bad
haircut.
before, love, to be fair. And we have to start the show off, though, or start the segment off with a shout out to your 16-year-old
Yes,
today.
Harry. Happy birthday, Harry. 16 years old today, so, which was really good.
Very
So
cool.
yeah,
Good on him.
Well done.
And he went for his licence?
He did. He had a theory test this morning, as I understand, and he's passed. So, which was great. So well done. Good news.
Well done, Harry. Happy birthday to you.
We're all in trouble
Right,
now.
what's
aren't
that?
We're all in trouble now.
What?
We'll be driving around all over the place.
Well, you have limits with driving, don't you? Speed
Dangerous.
limits.
Speed limits.
And should we have
Yes.
speed limits in our
Well
spending?
done. Yes, we should. Absolutely. Very clever.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Raj.
Yeah, I mean, tip number 6, I guess, is talking about limits and staying within your limits. So we quite often find that people exceed them. And of course, when you exceed them, 2 things can happen. You can get charged $10, which they call an honour fee, or you can get charged $25, which is a dishonour fee, and they dishonour the transaction.
So what's the difference? Can we just...
So an honour fee
honour
is
fee.
the bank, so if you go over your limit, okay, the bank will allow it,
Okay,
but they'll charge you for it.
right.
But,
Okay.
but if you go over your limit and the bank doesn't allow it, it's a $25 dishonour fee. So they return it. It's like in the old days, it used to be cheques. They'd bounce your cheque.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't have many cheques anymore.
No.
But it's like it's dishonour the automatic payment or your transaction or whatever's actually happening at that time, direct debit. So, and when we're presenting loan applications to the bank, those dishonours and honour fees look terrible. So really the whole thing is just please stay within your limit and don't exceed it. And that includes your credit card as well. You know? And if you're at, we don't particularly mind if you have a limit on your account, but maybe $300 or $400 or something like that. And then, because it means you can sort of go in and out of that limit, so it's what you fluctuate in and out of it. And that's sort of what they're designed for. And I also think if people are regularly going over their limit, maybe by $100 or so, there's a couple of things you can do. As one, don't.
There you go, full stop. That's it. Don't.
The second thing is just maybe ask the bank to put a limit in place, because every time you go over, they'll charge you for it. So to stop that charge happening, the bank can actually put a small overdraft limit in place, and then that stops one, you going over your limit.
That temptation,
being
isn't it?
charged. Yeah. So there are ways we can get around that if need be, but you just need to be really, really careful, because it's another black mark against your name, I guess, if you're applying for a loan. Because if you're constantly going over your limit, the bank sees it as an inability to manage your finances, so they're not going to
And to be
approve any
vigilant, I
finance for
suppose,
you.
as well, isn't it, really?
Yeah, just keep an eye on it. And sometimes it might be the bank's fault, or they've done something, or something's gone out, but still, at the end of the day, you need to keep an eye on it and make sure that your automatic payments, match up to when your income comes in. So your income comes in, and then the day after, all your main automatic payments come out, which could be your power, your phone, or whatever.
Which can be a little bit depressing, can't it, though?
Can be, but it's a good idea, because some people have them coming out the day before they get paid.
Oh.
And they don't really think about to adjust all of that, so they think into their pay comes in, and then they forget about the power bill that's coming out the day before. So then the power tries to come out, and then that gets dishonoured, and then their pay comes in the next day.
Oh, it's an ugly cycle, isn't it?
It is. So it's just getting past that, and it's just actually sitting down and taking a little bit of notice and figuring out what you have got to pay, what days they're due, and when your income comes in. And so some people open up a separate bank account and have, as soon as their pay comes in, all that money is gone, so it gets taken straight out into a separate bill account, and they know that all those bills are covered, so that whatever they've got left, that's what they've got to spend. Nothing else.
Do you suggest for people to actually take their cash out that they want?
I think some people, and it's always a psychology thing, because some people are big spenders and others are okay, and some fall in between. But I think if you are a big spender and you really do find it hard to manage, then by all means take the cash out and physically have that in your wallet. And then once you've used that, that's it.
That's it, it's all gone.
And for sure that whatever's left has covered whatever bills you've got coming up. So
Putting on the spot is lending as far as loans.
Yeah.
BNZ, pretty impressive.
Yeah, with their 1 year fixed rate.
1 year fixed rate, was it
it's great.
4 point?
I can't quite remember now.
It was
the low
4.24.
low fours, yeah.
Low fours, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it's a special that lasts a couple of weeks. I think it is. The loan has to be drawn by a certain period, but quite often we'll find the other banks will look to match those as well. So it's definitely creating a bit of attention.
A bit of turmoil.
Yeah.
And of course, reminding everyone at home though, that's what you're there for too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually...
Yeah, you can come and see me to talk about that at any time. Yeah, whether it's doing fixed rate reviews or you're wanting to buy a new house or anything like that, we can help with all that as well.
And I guess that's a good tip, is you don't, just because you've been with the same bank since forever, you don't have to stay with them.
No, well, you don't have to stay with them, but the other thing is they will match whatever else is out there. So don't, you know, we always try and keep you where you are, if at all possible, because having to shift banks can be a little bit of a pain. But if you go to that bank and say, look, we're getting offered this from someone else, you know, they will look to match it. And if they can't match it, then we just work out, well, how much is it going to cost you to shift? First, how much you're going to actually save to shift.
Great. Well, good advice, but just give you a phone call, to be fair.
Yeah,
we'll let
that's
you do
easier.
the thinking for us.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
Good on you. Focus Financial. Rightio. Phone 0800 334 338. The website is fgl.co.nz. Rightio. And earlier today, I caught up with Rosie from the Canterbury Charity Hospital. Well, it's time to head to the races this weekend. Hence my fascinator, Rosie Graham from Canterbury Charity Hospital. Fundraising is your thing, and you definitely need it down there at the Canterbury Charity Hospital, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have worked out it's about $750,000 a year to run the hospital, so that's what we need to fundraise every year.
A phenomenal amount of money, and you are, I suppose, I wouldn't say lucky, but fortunate that you have wonderful surgeons that are all around New Zealand, give their time to actually support the cause as well.
Yes, yeah, we have 300 volunteers, so it's not just the surgeons, it's the anaesthetists, the dentists, the technicians, nurses, support staff, gardeners, flower arrangers, so we only have around two paid staff, two full-time.
So really that $750,000 is for resources that they require to do their job.
Yes, yeah.
And it's like nights this weekend where we can go to Addington Raceway for a night at the races. So tell us all about it.
So it's Friday night, so we've decided to put on an event mainly for our volunteers but for other people as well. So we've kept it at a really reasonable price. So it's $45 a guest, and that includes a 3-course buffet dinner, and we can all have a great time and raise money at the same time.
Oh, so a bit of a flutter.
It will be exciting. Yeah, I haven't been to races much, so I'm not too reliant on winning anything, but I think it'll be lots of fun. So.
Well, if you go with that attitude, then you'll have a great night. If you're not out to actually win money, but just have a bit of a flutter, it'll be fine.
Absolutely.
So it's $45 per seat for a 3-course meal. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, Addington are just amazing. They have these fundraisers, so they do look at charities and offer really good prices for us. So
good on you. So if we want to actually purchase a ticket, or maybe a couple actually, we just need to go onto your website, don't we?
Yes, so it's www.charityhospital, all one word, .org.nz.
Really simple indeed.
Absolutely.
Now, another lovely fundraiser, without the glitz and the glam of the races, is a beautiful book that was produced, and the drawings are from Garrett Tremaine. If you know Garrett Tremaine, he's fantastic with his pen, isn't he? With his pencil.
Is indeed.
And gave his services to this Sylvester, the Charity Hospital cat. Who is a real cat?
He is a real cat, yes. Yes, I often end up with cat fur all over me. He's very much a real cat. Yes, he loves sitting in the middle of my office. He's underfoot where he can.
Yeah.
He's often outside during the weekends waiting for somebody to arrive.
Right. And
yeah.
Animals are a very much, and it's been proven, important part of actually remedying or caring, aren't they, for patients and make them feel quite at ease.
Yes, well, Sylvester came into his own after the earthquakes, and we were solely doing counselling.
Right.
And that's when he turned up, and he was very much a part of the counselling session. So, and he's been with us ever since. So, yes.
Very fortunate. And we can purchase these books. Now, the minimum cost, well, basically we need $7.50 for one of to pay for one of the books.
Yes.
That basically just covers it, doesn't it?
Yes,
really?
yep.
And anything more, you'll gratefully receive.
Absolutely,
won't you?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're also looking at a sequel. Sylvester has been well known for not being put out at the end of the day because he's been hiding, and then he sets the burglar alarms off. in the middle of the
nice.
night. Yes, so there's call-outs at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Burglar.
Well,
Literally.
exactly.
Cheeky monkey, isn't
Yeah,
he?
so we reckon the cost of the call-out, he's paying for it really. He's just about in credit at the moment. So.
Oh, now back to the services that the Canterbury Charity Hospital offer. Who is the candidate? Who is the patient that you are seeing there?
So our patients have been turned down by the Canterbury District Health Board they don't even make the waiting list. So they don't. But we call it a Dear John letter. So they get a letter saying, sorry, you don't qualify for surgery. So you're not even on the waiting list. And some of these patients have been in pain, hernias, hemorrhoids, 21 years. They've been in pain. One of our patients, yeah. So they don't have medical insurance, and they also don't have the means to pay for their surgery. And some surgeries can cost $5,000, $10,000, and they have to wait a while for them. So.
Rightio, and this is why we need to head along this Friday
Absolutely.
to Addington. $45 a ticket, as we said, and you can go to the website to purchase tickets. And if you can't make that time, that's okay. You can make a donation at any time.
Absolutely.
Rose and the team will gratefully receive it.
Absolutely.
Good seeing you, and I'll give you back your fascinator.
Lovely.
Good on you. Now stay with us, because after the break, TEDx is heading Christchurch October, and we head out on location with the fire service.
Hollow in soul, I see fire.
Very cool way to start things off with TEDx. I'm joined by Kyla Colburn, who's the curator of TEDx.
That sounds so fancy.
It does, doesn't it? Fancy schmancy. What is TEDx? For those who've been living under a rock.
TED itself originally stood for Technology Entertainment Design. It's a conference that started in 1984 in California. And TEDx is a program they started about 6 years ago that allows people like myself to get a license from TED to run a local, independently organized event focused on ideas worth spreading.
Which is great. And some of the past people that own TED, I've got children that just avidly watch it. I just think it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's talks. The maximum length of any talk is 18 minutes.
Yeah.
But you can have talks, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. And so if you go to TED.com and just click on anything, you're bound to be inspired, stretched, challenged, provoked, entertained. It's a really fantastic resource.
It's a great medium. 3rd of October, Christchurch. Very cool. And it'll be at the TEDx Village in Gloucester Street. Love that.
Yeah. So we've been going for 6 years in Christchurch, believe it or not. We started in 2010 at the Art Gallery. We had a little event with 150 people. And then after the quakes, we moved to the Aurora Center. And so we've been there since 2011. And this year, we're moving back into town.
Which is awesome.
And so the main stage content is at Isaac Theatre Royal, which we're so excited about. And then we've actually shut down Gloucester Street from the theatre all the way down to Colombo. We're taking over the press car park. And there are marquees and tech demos and, chill out zones and all sorts of things happening. Electric vehicles on display. It's just going to be a fantastic day.
Yeah, that technical aspect coming through.
Yeah.
So who's been some of your, we're going to get to who will be the guest speaker this year, but who's been some past speakers that you've entertained?
Oh, look, we've had some really outstanding speakers. In 2011, our event was 3 months after the 22nd of February quake, and we had Art Agnos, who had been the mayor of San Francisco during the Loma Prieta earthquake in 1989. And it was such a privilege to have him come down and be able to share the perspective of someone who was mayor of a city with 20 years of hindsight, to be able to look back and say, here's what we did well, here's what we didn't do so well. In 2012, one of our speakers, Ernesto Ciroli, his talk from our event is now on the main TED.com website, and it has over 2.3 million views. So that one is definitely worth a watch.
Yeah. Okay, it's definitely viral, isn't it? Other names, so Michelle Arcourt.
That's for this year.
That's for this year?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this year,
when's she coming here then?
so she's going to be. So this is this year's main event is the 3rd of October, which is a Saturday.
Yep.
It's an all-day affair, and in addition to the main stage content, there's all the stuff happening in the village. So there's really a lot going on. And Michelle Accourt is one of our speakers. We also have Eric Liu, who was President Clinton's Deputy Domestic Policy Advisor and speechwriter.
That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, he's absolutely outstanding.
Serious?
Yeah, he's amazing. And then we also have Ian Wright, who, in my perspective, he is the Kiwi with the greatest differential between how well he's actually known and how well he should be known. Because he was one of the original co-founders of Tesla Motors. And I don't know if you're familiar with Tesla Motors, but they are absolutely revolutionizing the transport industry. And Ian Wright, who's created Tesla, now has another company called Wrightspeed, and his whole thing is on creating electric drivetrains for industrial vehicles. And he says, if you really want to change the world, forget about passenger cars. Trucks and industrial fleets are where it's at.
It's very cool. Now, Julian Arahanga, now we may not know that name straight off, but if we watched Once the Warriors, we certainly would have seen that.
Yeah.
And there he is there, a little bit older now, a little bit wiser, and apparently he was in The Matrix as well.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
He's been in all sorts of things. It's amazing.
But now
what you
he's
get when you
producing and
dig through
directing.
someone's
He actually
bio.
directed the behind the scenes of Once the Warriors 25 or 30 years on. So he does some really, really great stuff. So he'll be one of the guest speakers.
He will. And so Julian, he's been doing for the past 3 years, I believe. He's actually been working on it for 5 or 6 years, but 3 years it's been on the air. An extraordinary show on Maori television called Songs from the Inside. And so what he's been doing is he's been working with really well-known Kiwi musicians, and they've been going into prisons and running music programs with the inmates. So it's this incredibly beautiful, incredibly powerful, incredibly heart-centric work that he's been doing for several years now. And so Julian will be joining us with this is the first time ever we're announcing this. He will be joining us with Lady Six, who was one of the musicians who has been doing this program, going into prisons and working with inmates, which I'm such incredible admiration for her as an artist and as a performer, but also for doing this work. It's so much more powerful than anything.
And she is amazing, amazing. And remembering all this information though, there's 3 great mediums. There's the website TEDxChristchurch.com, there's Facebook, and there's good old Twitter. You've got to have Twitter.
Good old Twitter. TEDx Chicha on Twitter. We only have 140 characters on Twitter, so TEDx Christchurch takes up a lot of real estate, so it's just TEDx Chicha.
Good on you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. It's going to be fantastic. Saturday, 3rd of October. So cool. Closing down the street, as you do. Thanks so much. Now, stay with us because we were out on location at Central Police Station with the Comm Centre for the Fire Service.
Fire Service, where is your emergency?
Behind us is the Christchurch Central Police Station, and that's where the Southern Fire Communications Centre is based. Got to see a couple of key personnel from the fire service team, and they're going to explain the 111 process and some of the challenges we face in getting the information we require to respond. My role here is I'm control room supervisor, or shift manager is what we call the position. But what I do here is I supervise the staff, make sure that we efficiently and effectively use our resources. So basically we're in control of the whole South Island. We're responsible for 700 odd appliances and vehicles, and we take all the 111 calls for this area primarily, and dispatch the appliances accordingly.
Andrew, you have pretty impressive software here.
We do indeed. About 15 to 18 years ago, we went into a joint co-location project with the police, and what that did was it enabled us to spend a lot more money on technology and stuff. So they've come up with an incredibly complex but very, very clever system, and the information we have in it is just never ending. What it does is it enables us to pre-program responses to a whole range of different incident types, plus pre-program in additional resources and things that we may need.
How big's your team here in Christchurch?
In Christchurch here we have, we're one of 3 centres. We have a centre here in Christchurch with a staffing of 5 during the day, but we also have an equivalent centre in Central Comms in Wellington and another one in Auckland. So those centres are manned in the same way. So during any particular day, we've normally got about 15 staff on duty. Now the system runs in all 3 centres. It's based in, well, we operate it here, but it's also replicated in Wellington and Auckland, which we refer to as Central and North Comms. What it does, it gives us a semi-virtual environment where we can take calls for each other, and we can fall back onto each other and pick up each other's workloads. So in the past, when a 111 call come in, it may ring for 30 to 60 seconds if we're busy. Now that call is immediately redirected to one of the other centres in the same way that theirs come to us. And being electronic and a virtual environment, once we put the job into the system, it pops up in Auckland or Wellington for them to do their dispatch. So,
well, Andrew, I think we should meet one of your senior communication people here and see exactly what they do in their role as well.
Fire service, where is your emergency?
Catherine, you have a very special role here in the communication centre.
Yes, I'm part of the call taking and dispatch team here. We have 4 people on at any one time. 2 of us are taking 111 calls and dealing with trucks that are calling in with issues or liaising with the public, and 2 of us are dispatching. So once the call taker has taken the information, they're actually alerting all the units and getting them on the way to the event.
What's one imperative tip that we should remember when calling in?
Listen to what the call taker is telling you. If they tell you to get out of the house, get out and stay out. Do not stay in to try and get valuables or try and rescue anyone else. Get yourself out and stay safe.
Tell us about taking a call.
When we take a 111 call, there's quite a few challenges that come out of that. One of the main ones is when people are very panicky, and it's quite understandable that people are, especially if you've never come across something like a house fire or a motor vehicle accident where you've got people who are injured. We need to verify your location, and to do that we're going to ask you questions that may surprise you and can sometimes confuse people. The thing that we ask is if people can stay as calm as they can, then we can get the resources to you as quickly as possible, which is what we're here for, to help you as fast as we can.
You love what you do, don't you?
Yes, yeah, very much so. It can be a very challenging job at times, but you do get a great sense of satisfaction because you can help the public, especially when someone rings in and they're panicky, but by the end of the phone call they've calmed down and they're feeling better and they know the trucks are on the way, they're going to have help soon.
The future is very bright for the Fire Service Communication Centre. We're moving down to the Christchurch Justice and Emergency Services Precinct in 2017. It's in the Central Business District. We're recruiting some very talented people, a couple that you met today, and we're embracing new technology. We'll be moving down with our police partners in communications, and St John's will also be joining us. So the future's looking very bright.
And that was beautifully shot by Dave Sandhams, which was very cool. And thanks to the team down there, a very big team, but they had a lot of fun with us, and we had a lot of fun with them. Now stay with us after the break. Karen Deegan is here. We're talking depression.
I won't give up on us, even if the skies get
Nothing blue about this lady though, is there?
Not today.
Not today. But we are talking about depression today, Karen Deegan. And it's quite cool now that we can actually talk about it. There's been a lot of, I suppose, celebrity endorsements, hasn't it?
Which has helped getting it out in the open.
Yeah, it has. Okay. Have you personally experienced depression?
I was diagnosed as being depressed many years ago when I was in my 20s. I was actually early 20s, had been out of work for a little while and was, obviously not feeling very happy about that. So I go to the doctor and he gives me this list and he says, have you got this, this, this and this and this? And I was able to answer yes, and he goes, oh, you've got depression. He then gives me antidepressants, which I was on for a number of years. And when I think about it now, I think that's just crazy, because the problem is I was unhappy because there was stuff happening in my life that I was feeling unhappy about. So the answer, therefore, is not drugs necessarily, it's to change. If we can't change your life circumstances, we can change how you think and feel. And I just needed to change how I was thinking and feeling. And, I'll give you my view of depression, Andrea.
Okay, here we go.
But first of all, let me set the scene by looking at physically. Physically, we don't go to the doctors every time there's something wrong, because our body's actually really pretty good at healing itself, right? And occasionally when it can't heal itself, that's when we go and get some help. But imagine if you'd never been to the doctors your whole life. Like, would you even be alive? And if you were, it would not be a pretty sight, right?
No, probably not. No.
And I think that's the state some people are in emotionally, because it's the same with emotions. We don't need to go and see someone every time we've got an emotional issue, because we can process it, get through it, and we come right. But some things we can't. Some things we can't seem to get through on our own, so they stay with us. And every year we live, not only are they staying with us, but we're adding more things that we can't get over. And that's what I think depression is. It's a culmination of all of these emotional things and beliefs as well that we've been carrying around with us. One of my clients described it as like a backpack full of rocks that she'd been carrying around with her. And I think that's a really good analogy, because every rock that goes on the backpack is one unresolved emotional issue.
So you have a client that comes along and you free them from depression. Are they happy?
That's a really good question, actually, because in my view, there's two parts. There's freeing them from the depression, which is clearing the beliefs they might have about themselves that are affecting their sense of self-worth, to clearing the emotions that they haven't been able to get over from various things. And when all of those are clear, then they think they're happy, because they've perhaps never even experienced happiness like that, and they think they're at the happy point. But I know the happy point's up here. They're at the neutral point.
Right.
And so then, when I've cleared them those issues, I can start teaching them how to be happy, and we can move their happiness level even higher.
So share a story with us, with someone that you've helped.
Well, I remember one man, and there is actually a video by him on my YouTube channel, who was probably the most depressed person I'd ever met in my life, and that's saying something, because I treat a lot of people as depressed.
I met a lot of depressed people. Okay, wow, okay.
He wanted to die every single day of his life.
Oh.
Yeah. And
I'm depressed listening to it. Okay.
Yeah, poor thing. So, and there'd been many years that he'd been feeling that way, and I, within a very short period of time, got him to that neutral place, and he thought he was happy, and he in fact didn't want to be any happier. He was afraid of being any happier. How sad is that?
It is.
Yeah, but for the first time in his life, I remember him sending me an email once and telling me how happy he was, and I was almost in tears reading it, because I knew what that meant to him. From someone who'd wanted to die every single day to feeling happy, it was like the most amazing email I ever got.
That's just someone, I suppose it's like those rocks have been taken off his back.
That's right.
As your other client said. How if we don't realise we actually got unresolved issues? Maybe everyone else can see it, but we can't.
Often other people can see it. One wee thing that you can do, if you're not sure whether you've got unresolved emotional issues, make a list of every negative event in your life. And there should be at least 50 things on this list, or else you haven't even lived. Make a list of every negative event in your life and rate things that you might still have some strong feeling about. Give me a call. I don't charge for these calls. Give me a call and I'll honestly tell you whether those things are affecting you or not. I've got a couple of questions I can easily tell what might be impacting on you or not. And I won't be just trying to get business. I'll honestly tell you if they're not affecting you, well, great. Good
on you, Karen. That is awesome. So, Karen, as she said, all you need to do is give her a call. Set free with EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques. Phone 03 332 0526, setfree.co.nz. Just quickly, Karen, what are we doing next week? What in the fortnight's time?
Well, I'd like people to vote.
Oh.
Give CTV a ring and say what they'd like me to talk about.
Cool, we like that. Yay, we'll put it on Facebook as well. Thank you so much. Rightio. On Wednesday's show, Ange Stone joins me, Casabella Interiors with blinds, Phyllis Brown Unicorns, Fiona Pears and Casanova Productions stitched up. Oh, what a busy show. We're going to end today's show with Graham Brazier. Have a wonderful day.
It's closing time. I close my eyes, wonder where the night is gone. They're closing down all the places where we used to run around. But it doesn't mean much without you. Yeah, it doesn't mean much without you, my dear, my dear, my dear. This time of year, hear the wind it comes, blows all the trees around.